So what if the whole spiritual path isn't about overcoming our desires, but actually embracing them? Today, we're going to dive into a philosophy that sees our most powerful emotions, our love, our sense of beauty, not as obstacles, but as the very essence of the universe itself. Let's get right into it.
You know, so many traditions teach that true peace comes from detachment, from rising above it all. But what if the path to a really vibrant, full life isn't about escaping our worldly nature, but actually leaning into it? That's the core question we're going to chew on today.
And right away, you can see the two competing ideas. On one side, you've got the ascetic ideal. You know the one. Transcend, suppress, detach. But on the other side, there's this philosophy we're looking at, the way of nature, which tells us to do the exact opposite. Embrace, cultivate, and express those very same forces. We're talking about two totally different roadmaps for a meaningful life.
Okay, so what exactly is this way of nature? Well, it's not just about, trees and rivers. It's this universal idea that the physical world and the spiritual world, they're not separate. They're actually one and the same thing.
I mean, listen to how it's described. It's in these grand, almost poetic terms, right? It's seen as the ultimate reality, the perfect, unfolding rhythm of everything in existence. So it's not something you're supposed to escape from. It's the very fabric of reality that you're a part of.
And this idea, it really does apply to everything. Think about it. A willow branch swaying in the wind, a peacock showing off its feathers, a powerful river, a young girl's first crush. It's all seen as part of the same cosmic dance, the same universal expression.
And within this big, all-encompassing way of nature, the philosophy points to four forces that are absolutely essential. And these aren't just like nice aspects of life. No, they're the fundamental building blocks that give our whole universe its color, its meaning, and all of its vitality.
First up, emotion. So far from being some kind of distraction we need to get rid of, it's called the seasoning of life. I love that. It's what gives everything flavor and depth. It's basically the most direct and overall expression of this whole way of nature thing. Then we've got love. And here it's defined as this beautiful dance of emotions between beings. But it's way more than just a feeling. It's positioned as the actual foundation of creation itself, the very engine that allows life to keep going, generation after generation.
Okay, now we get to the most provocative claim, sexuality. This isn't presented as some base desire you need to control. Get this, it's described as the very essence of life itself. And from this viewpoint, everything, mountains, flowers, stars, it's all a manifestation of this core creative energy.
And finally, beauty. And what is beauty? Well, it's simply the visible result of all these other forces doing their thing. It's when life's inner world, all that emotion, love, and vitality, becomes something you can actually see and experience. It's the melody and dance of the physical world.
So here's the crucial point, right? You take away these four forces, emotion, love, sexuality, and beauty, and what are you even left with? A cold, empty, totally meaningless universe, a world without a pulse. And that really raises the stakes for the argument against suppressing them.
So naturally, this brings us to a head-on collision. The philosophy takes these core ideas and uses them to directly challenge some of the biggest claims of traditional ascetic spirituality.
Here's claim number one, and you've probably heard this before. It's the idea that these fundamental forces are just desires. They're things we have to rise above, to transcend, if we want to get enlightened. It's a super common idea on a lot of spiritual paths.
And the rebuttal? Whoa, it does not pull any punches. The philosophy just calls it nonsense, straight up. It argues that trying to cut yourself off from these essential parts of nature doesn't make you enlightened. It just turns you into a zombie or a mummy.
All right, here's another big one. The claim that sexual expression is a drain, that it depletes the vital energy you need for your spiritual practice. I mean, this idea has a really long history and a ton of traditions.
And this viewpoint just dismisses that as a total absurdity. The argument is basically, look, these are natural processes. And it makes a pretty blunt point. There's literally no proof that engaging with this fundamental life force is inherently a bad thing or something that depletes you.
And this brings us to the final and maybe the most critical ascetic claim, that enjoying the sensual, emotional, beautiful parts of life is fundamentally incompatible with achieving true spiritual growth. It's one or the other.
The response here is, well, it's by far the most powerful. The idea of an enlightened being, a Buddha, who is totally empty of these forces is just completely rejected. A being like that, the text says in no uncertain terms, would be utterly worthless.
But look, this whole thing isn't just about tearing down old ideas. The philosophy actually offers a much more nuanced solution, kind of a third way, a more refined path forward.
And this is the natural question, right? If you're not supposed to suppress these forces, does that just mean you indulge in them without any thought? Well, a commentary on the original text gives us a really clear answer.
And the whole answer is in this one key distinction. See, the ascetic goal is transcendence, to escape these forces, because they're seen as obstacles in your way. But this alternative path is about sublimation. It's about refining and elevating these very same forces, seeing them as the raw material for spiritual growth. The goal isn't detachment. It's a more liberated, more artful expression of who you are.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. This is the practical heart of the whole philosophy. The real work, the true meaning of spiritual cultivation, isn't about getting rid of these powerful parts of yourself. It's about learning how to transform them, how to elevate them from a place of raw impulse to a place of creative freedom.
So at the end of the day, what this all comes down to is a fundamental choice. And it's not just a philosophical debate either. It's framed as a decision between two completely different ways of living with two very, very different outcomes.
On the one hand, you have the path of escape. Trying to run from our nature, this philosophy argues, just leads to a desolate, lifeless existence. But on the other hand, you have the path of entry, choosing to engage with and refine these forces. And this, the text concludes, leads to endless vitality, richness, and joy. So the final choice isn't just about what to avoid, but what you want to create. The only question left is, which path makes life and art worth living?